Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is The Tick, Season 2, Episode 8, Joan! Yes, Joan. And yes, even though Amazon, in their infinite farsightedness, has decided to cancel this series, I am still finishing up Season 2 since I already started this, and I'm going to go through with it to the end. So hopefully, Netflix, if you're out there, pick up this show, man, because it's a good show. So, with that said, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you haven't watched the episode, go and watch it. It's been up for a little while. Go and see it. It's a good episode. And even if you haven't watched, even if you have watched the episode, go back and watch it again. It's actually pretty damn good. Yeah, exactly. Hashtag save the tick. And so, yes, I am going to spoil this. This will be a video. You can come on back later on and comment down below in the comments section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. Hey, Fan on Rough. Just stop by watching from the cloud. Oh, nice. Thank you. Yeah, we definitely need more Danger Boat. We need more Tick. We need more Joan. Damn it. We need more Walter and Dot and Overkill and everybody. Superion, especially Superion. We need to see what happens with all of that. So let's get started. So we have Arthur doing what he does best, filling out paperwork because there's nothing but paperwork after the arrest of the Donnellys, which they did last episode. And he, of course, is omitting anything about the babies in the report to Aegis. And when Flexon comes in, he's now the Lobstercules lawyer and needs to know, what the hell that the Donnellys were holding over Lobstercules in order to make her rob the bank. I'm like, well, we can't really tell you at the moment. Why don't you come by later, kind of thing. And he's like, all right. It was just kind of weird. And Veranda comes in and she accepts the paperwork from Arthur, the arrest paperwork, and tells him, just to let you know, you guys are in the running to be the new members of the Flag Five. Is what she tells Arthur and Tick. So yeah, it's kind of a big deal. So they're one of the finalists, or they are two of the finalists there. We see Dot. She wakes up on the beach after the explosion that we saw last episode, and she sees Walter in tactical gear standing over her. She's kind of surprised by this. Tick, Arthur, and Tinfoil Kevin, in the meantime, are playing with Lobstercules' children because they've saved the babies, of course, and they're kind of running around the room in the apartment and all that stuff. When a knock happens at the door, and Arthur's like, "Okay, quick, hide the kids." They go and hide the kids, and who is it but Arthur's mom? And she comes in wanting to talk about Walter because Walter left her a very brief message, and she goes, "Does this sound like him? Have you ever known the man to be this brief?" Because Walter, of course, likes to, how should we say, um, be very, very lengthy in his responses, in any response, even a response that requires a yes or no, kind of like what I'm doing right now, in case you can't tell. So, as he's talking to her about this, one of the kids comes scuttling out into the living room, and she's like, What's going on? What you seem distracted?" And then they basically tell her everything, and she comes in and sees the kids in the bathtub, and the Tick, I love the Tick goes, "And this is your new Mima, Joan." And the kids go, "Joan." They say their first word is Joan, which is really kind of nice. You see all of them; they're all happy and everything. And the Tick says, "You're a parent, Joan." He goes, "Let me ask you." He goes, They seem energetic yet lethargic," is what he says. "What's going on?" And she goes, "Well, when Arthur was young, he was this way when he was hungry." So she goes, "That's what it is. They're hungry." They're like, "Oh my God, we didn't think about that." So now they're gonna be on the hunt for these little purple sea stars that they've seen. I know they say starfish, but that is the improper term, the improper marine biology term. The proper term is sea stars, not starfish, because they're invertebrates, they're not fish. Ah, Amazon, how could you cancel such brilliance? Exactly, Viking bitch. Exactly. Hey, movie Fanobi. Hey, everybody in the chat. I'll get to you guys in a little bit here. Let me go through the recap real quick, and then we'll get through this as well. Okay. So, Dangerboat, Dot, and Walter are all trying to track Overkill when Walter comes clean that his real name is John Woo, which I thought was kind of funny because John Woo, the director. But anyway, that's just besides the point. And Dot has more questions about that, but we're going to get to that in a little bit. Flexon comes by Arthur's place to get the info that he was requesting beforehand, and he finds out that Lepstercules has kids, and that's the Donnellys were using to force her into robbing banks. And the Tick is very adamant about keeping his word and does not want this to be leaked to Aegis. So look, Flexon goes, "Don't worry." He goes, "We can work with it." He goes, "But now that I know," he goes, "I can work with this in the courts," which is really good. Um, and they also Tinfoil Kevin finds a shop that sells the certain sea stars that they need and that the kids will eat. So in the meantime, Walter is telling Dot about how he was, he works for Aegis, has to, he was assigned to the family to watch over them after the terror killed their dad. And he was supposed to just keep, a distance from them, but he fell in love with her mom. And he goes, "All that's real." So basically everything that happened was real. And so he's been watching them from the inside now at this point. Um, Superior, in the meantime, comes in to Arthur's apartment and blackmails him, essentially saying that, "You know what, if you don't listen to me talk, because I've got some more therapy that I want to go through and bounce off of you, essentially, I'm going to tell everybody about the Atlantean children that you have that you're hiding here." So, of course, Arthur decides that that's what he's going to do. So they go into the bedroom so he can lay down because that's what Superior wants to do. He wants to lay down and talk. In the meantime, Tick and Joan are in the bathroom and they're talking about parenting. He wants a little parenting advice, and she goes, "I don't know if I'm the right person to talk about that. I think I screwed everything up after Dot and Arthur's dad died." And he goes, "Nonsense. They turned out really good." So he kind of gives her a little pep talk. She gives him a little pep talk. So we got all of that. Yes, and Superior is definitely missing his therapy. He really, really needs therapy. Yes, client attorney privilege. Um, Oh, that's right. I almost forgot there was actually a line back there when, well, no, actually, it's coming up here in just a minute. I do have it in my notes. So there was actually a couple of really good lines in here that made me laugh. So in the meantime, Superion, he's like, "Well, what do I need to do in order to help people out to see that I'm doing good here?" He goes, "Do I need to like gather up all the world's nuclear arms and get rid of them, toss them out into the sun?" Which is, of course, the plot for Superman 4, in case those of you at home do not know what he's talking about, which is hilarious because they are following the Superman series with Superion's Superion's story, which just makes me laugh. And Arthur's like, "No, no, 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 you don't need to do that." And he goes, "You just need to kind of lay off for a little bit and people will like you again. Just, do normal stuff. Don't destroy monuments, don't try and save us." He goes, "Just let us do what we're going to do, but you can stop the occasional crime." And he goes, "Oh." He goes, "Well, there are some people that they're going to get mad at me about something." He goes like, "What is that?" He says, "Well, E. Morgan Pearl, I left him on top of our pyramid in Guatemala." Our pyramid is what he says. And he goes, "You what?" He goes, "Yeah, he's climbed down by now. He's roaming through the jungle. He should get out pretty soon, but maybe I should take him and freeze him and put him in the Antarctica for a decade or so. Do you think anyone would miss him?" And Arthur's like, "Yes, they will. Go and get him and bring him back." And he's really kind of against it, but he decides to do it. And Arthur, of course, gets a knock at the door again, which he has to go out and, answer. And it turns out to be Amanda, not Veranda. Of course, they're twins. And Amanda is there to do an HQ evaluation, which is what finalists for the Flag Five have to have done. So she kind of looks around there. So remember, you got the kids in the bathroom with Joan. Tinfoil Kevin's out getting sea stars for the kids. Superion has taken off because he's got to come back with E. Morgan Pearl. And yeah, all kinds of shit's going loose at this point. So she ends up setting up this machine inside the kitchen. And I love Tick actually asks when he comes out and sees Amanda, he goes, "Are you the one I like?" Which I thought was pretty funny. And the Queen of Paperwork sister, exactly, Mufinobi. And she ends up of course asking them questions about, well, one, she asks about the tick's memory loss. And she goes, "You put down catastrophic memory loss. Has any flash?" He goes, "I did," which I loved. And then also, "Have you got any flashes or anything like that?" He goes, "No, nothing I can remember." Which, again, there's some really good lines in here that we have going on. So Joan comes out because we hear the singing. The kids start singing, and Arthur tries to pass it off as the neighbor's band. And Joan comes out of the bathroom, and she's like, "Is Kevin back with the with the sea stars?" And of course, he isn't at the point. And she goes, "Oh, hi, I'm Joan. I'm Arthur's mom, and I'm gonna make some coffee. Don't mind me." And so Amanda starts asking Arthur about his history of mental illness that he had put down. And that's when Joan chimes in and goes, "No, no, no, wait. We misdiagnosed it." She goes, "We thought that Arthur had an unhealthy obsession with the terror, and he didn't. We were wrong. He was right. We should have listened to him." Kind of clears that all up. So basically, they get through it. They do okay, and Amanda tells them that they actually, are still in the running for the Flag Five, which is kind of nice. So Amanda leaves just as Superior appears with E. Morgan Pearl, who looks a little bit worse for wear. And he goes, "No, no." He goes, "He's good. He's on board. He's as we talked about. We had a little talk on the flight back, and he's not going to tell anybody anything, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to say anything to anybody." And Arthur's like, "Did you threaten him on the way back?" And Superior's like, "No, I didn't do anything of the sort." And Pearl is trying to just kind of nod slightly that yes, that's what happened. And he goes, I'll just take him back home." And Arthur's like, "No, no, you've done enough. You need a timeout. Go and take a walk," is what he tells them. And Superior's like, "On the ground?" And he goes, "Yes, on the ground. Go and take a walk. Timeout." He goes, and as Superior leaves, he lets Morgan Pearl lay down on his couch and go to sleep, of course, because he's pretty exhausted and looking all kinds of frazzled. At this point, Kevin has come back also with the sea stars, the purple sea stars, and they won't eat. The little kids won't eat, of course, the ground up in a blender sea stars. So the tick decides to. He goes, "So you said she fed them from her mouth, right?" And so he takes a bite out of it, and I love Kevin's reaction. "Oh no, he took a bite!" And he crunches it up, and he's like, "Oh my god, the taste!" And he just kind of drools it out into the little lobsters' mouths, and they all go crazy. They change colors actually. They're kind of a grayish green, and then they started turning red, which is kind of nice. They glow, and so he's feeding them, and they start singing and everything. And he takes another bite, and Kevin's like, "Oh no, he did it again!" And so that's how Tick is feeding them. And that's where we leave off the episode, is with the boys in the running for the Flag Five, and they found a way to feed the kids. Flexon is gonna, do a little Lego mumbo jumbo to get Lobstercules out of jail, and Dot and Walter have had a nice talk about who he was, John Woo, and what his intentions are towards the family. And then also they're looking for overkill at the same time. And exactly, how can you not like this show? This is all within 25 minutes that we got all of this. And oh, we also had Superion as well, going out on his timeout. He is the most powerful man in the world. As he told Arthur, he can, that's how he knew about the Atlanteans, was that he has super hearing. Of course, he has X-ray vision, all of that stuff. He knows anything about anybody who's on the planet Earth. So there we go. And yes, excuse me, it is still unbelievable that it got canceled. Pen Farm Girl, you're right. It's a travesty, quite honestly. Movie for Nobody says, "Let me say this. I saw the starfish coming. Still funny, gross every time, even though it's movie mush. It still put those fake suckers in his mouth." Yeah, the gummy sea star. Yeah, the gummy sea star was just nasty. Um, uh, yeah, and they're not supposed to taste good. So, having been in marine biology, having gone through an invertebrate class, sea stars intentionally don't taste good because they don't want to become prey. Um, so yeah, they even to other fish and stuff like that, they taste nasty. except there are some fish that actually have developed a taste for them. So there you go. And there's your science moment right there. Happy singing babies, great way to end the episode. Exactly, Pen Farm Girl. And and them saying their first word, of course, Joan. And I love the tick riding around. He's got the lobsters, they're clipped onto him, and he's doing like a little pony dance around there. They're basically supposed to be riding a bronco, and he's playing cowboys and Indians with them. And I like when Flexon comes in and, finds out about the kids and says, well, we need to use this for the court. He stops and gets stoic for a minute. He goes, Joan, take the kids inside. The adults need to talk. And yeah, exactly. Who would have thought the lobsters will be adorable? I know that they're adorable, but they're also really tasty too, especially with some melted butter. A little bit of lemon. See, now I want lobster. Damn. Uh, I know it's wrong, but hey, the show's been canceled. Might as well make the best of it. Get some eating in while we're at it. Hey, Filthy News, you came in just near the end here. So if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button. The subscribe button that's just down here. Also hit the like button as well. You can hit the dislike button. I just asked you go down below in the comment section. Tell me what it is you don't like. Give me a little constructive criticism. If you want to see when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick it. You can also go into the bell settings and get as many or as little notifications as you want. I also have a schedule up on suspendedfanimation.com and up on my Facebook page as well. My Facebook page is actually where I will give you any kind of last minute notice. So, like last night, I was supposed to do Nosferatu, but it was so goddamn horrible that I decided not to. I wanted to save you all the pain from me going through it and me myself going through that pain. If it lasts the second season, I would be very, very surprised. But yeah, that show got canceled. I may put Good Omens on Sundays. We'll see how that works. I got a little bit into the first episode of Good Omens, and I just didn't have any time. So, the tick was Pete from Shaun of the Dead. Yes, he was Peter Saravinovich. Mufinobi says, I mean, these days with streaming and subscription-based programming, you can't use standard viewership and ad revenue to judge a show. Exactly. And also, you just can't dump shit all at once. I keep saying this, but DC Universe has proven this exactly. Is that if you do it one episode a week, like regular TV programming, like traditional TV programming, I should say, yes, you can do it later on and just leave the whole series up and then have people that can binge it if they want to. That's fine. Just don't do the initial dump of the entire series all at once. You can do half seasons. I know Amazon used to do that where they do 6 episodes and 6 episodes. That was fine as well. That way you kind of get an anticipation. You have a natural stopping point in the middle, and then you have an anticipation. You give people, say, a month or two, something like that, then you can drop the second half of the season. I mean, Netflix is doing that with Disenchanted, which wasn't good to begin with. I mean, it was okay, it was mediocre, but they dropped the first half of the season, and then it's almost been, it feels like it's been a year, but it hasn't. I think it's been like 6 months. They're going to drop the second half of the season. So, Viking Mitch said, I've never eaten lobster either. I would want it dead before the boil. Stab it in the brains, for God's sake. Yeah, exactly. There are ways of doing that humanely, Viking bitch. And that's the easiest one, is actually just doing the brain. I know they say put it in the freezer, make it lethargic. No, just cut it in the brain, and yeah. And it's now a cooking show that I'm doing. Dance, monkey, dance. Stormy Scott says, I have never tasted lobster as a boy. I saw one thrown into boiling water and it screamed. I can't stand the idea of choosing a creature to be killed for me personally. Yeah, like I said, there are humane ways to do it. Well, as humane as can be when you're killing another creature. So Pen Farm Girl says Nosferatu was a lot like the book. Sorry it wasn't for you, Dennis. Not nearly as bad as Passage, but Good Omens is a better choice. Yeah. I tried. I really did, but I got to the point where I'm sitting there watching Nosferatu and I started getting up and doing things, other things. Yeah. So I just put up the new TV that's just sitting over on this side. And I had a little vacuuming to do, so I did a little bit of that as it was on. I mean, it just really did not hold my interest at all, and didn't have any characters that popped for me. So yeah, and that's never a good sign. And it felt exactly like a Stephen King story, is what it felt like. And I'm not a fan of Stephen King's work, so I am probably the least likely person to watch that. Farm Girl, I'll stick to pigs, cows, and chickens. That's what Pen Farm Girl says. Thank you, Viking Bitch. I appreciate your no hate watch policy. Yeah, I couldn't do it. It really, it was going to be a very short. I mean, it literally would have been a 5-minute broadcast of me going, "Don't watch it. It sucks. Unless you're into this kind of stuff, then Godspeed. You're on your own." And that would have been it. So yeah. Mufinobi lobster is tasty, but haven't had it in a long time. I prefer fresh crab meat, though I hadn't had it like they serve lobster. Yeah. Yeah, I almost got a lobster roll for lunch today. So there's a little place at work that actually does it. Came close, but I decided not to. Pen Farm Girl says Joe Hill writes a lot like his dad. Just skip it all. This. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm doing. I'm not gonna. And the thing is, it would have dovetailed nicely because right after Nosferatu ends, Preacher begins on AMC, the last season of Preacher. So it would have dovetailed very, very nicely for my podcast, but no. There we go. You keep pushing Cloak and Dagger move, Finobi. It just means that you want to watch it. That's all. I know you've been watching it in secret and you want to talk about it, but yeah. You should start up a YouTube channel called Cloak and Dagger. I love Cloak. Mufinobi loves Cloak and Dagger. That's what you should call it. That would be awesome. Have I mentioned that what we do in the shadows? No, you haven't mentioned that, Viking Bitch. I didn't know that was a good vampire show. I've never heard of that show. I'm kidding. Yes, I know. Do you like Inhumans too? Oh, that's just being mean, Pen Farm Girl. That's being mean at that point. Yeah, I still haven't gotten around to seeing what we do in the shadows. Like I said, very little time and so much to do. Yeah, that's right. Sometimes I reverse it. So I say, yeah, so much time, so little to do. But Dark Shadows, not Dark Shadows. Cloak and Dagger gave me hives. Yeah. Do you know what a Farscape is? Isn't that an art term? Farscape? Oh, we're giving Viking Bitch a hard time. Yeah, you did know it was coming. I knew it was coming back when I started all this foolishness. Foolishness. There we go. So, if you like these kind of shenanigans, come on and subscribe and hit the like button. Also, if you're still on the fence, there's going to be a video that pops up here. There's going to be another video up here too, but over here is going to be the video that is plucked directly from my library for just for you out there. To it's going to basically be taken from all the algorithms of everything you've watched because YouTube knows every dirty little thing you've watched on YouTube, and will match it to my video library and pick one out and pluck it there for you. This other one up here will be the latest my latest podcast that I've done up here, which will be Saturday Afternoon Blast Off. Yes, where I was not drunk on air, by the way. May have looked like it, but I wasn't. I was drinking. Suspended shenanigation. You didn't think I was going to be able to say that one, did you, Movie Finobi? But I was actually able to say that one. Slurmy Scott says, if you're still on the fence, get it off your ass. It must be really sore by now. Nice. I will kill you both, or maybe I will raid your villages. Thank you, Viking bitch. So with that said, thank you everyone who joined me in the chat. Movie Finobi, Sculpted Leather by Viking Bitch, Pen Farm Girl, Slurmy Scott, and I think that was it. Oh, and we had the Filthy News. That's right. Yes, go and take a look over at the Filthy News as well. He's got some news up there right now that he just posted a little while ago. So there we go. With that said, Movie Finobi. I knew you were going to go there. I knew you were going to go there with that. No, I'm not. There's just, I could go off and be really, really, yeah, I'm not going to. So with that said, take a look at the videos, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I will see you all. Oh, geez, I almost forgot. So tomorrow night I'm off. Wednesday night, we're starting Krypton. Season 2 of Krypton is happening. Yes, come and join me for Krypton on Sci-Fi. That's on the Sci-Fi channel, by the way. In case you're wondering, time is up on my website, suspendedfanimation.com. Also on Thursdays is going to be iZombie. Hopefully it's good because again, it's got one more strike to go. If it gets one more strike, then it's gone. Friday, of course, is Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing, the first episode was really, really good. So hopefully we have another good episode of Swamp Thing. Saturday, of course, is back to Saturday morning blast off, where I take the genre news of the week, talk about that, and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about. Sundays right now is open. Like I said, I'm probably going to do Good Omens on Sunday. So there we go. So much for not hate watching. I'm not hate watching Krypton, okay? I look at it as Gotham. It's the same vein as Gotham. It's actually the same showrunners, if I'm not mistaken. Like it's got some of their sprinklings in there. Anyway, and I think that'll be fun. If anything, it'll be a lot of fun to just watch the Superman show that's not Superman. It doesn't have Superman in it. It has his cape in it sometimes, but it doesn't have Superman. And I'm all for it. It's Car Crash TV. That's it. That's it, Viking bitch. It's Car Crash TV. I do want to see Tiny Lobo. I want to see Tiny Lobo with his tiny little arms that they filmed from below to make him look big. That's gonna be one of my highlights, I think, is Tiny Lobo. Tiny Lobo. It's kind of like Tiny Bubbles, but you know, Tiny Lobo. There. All these adjacent shows without the real deal. Yeah, I mean, Epix is starting Pennyworth. That's right. Pennyworth is starting on Epix fairly soon, and I'm not going to watch that. It's from the same showrunners as Gotham. It's actually Bruno Heller again. And I'm like, yeah, you already did it with Gotham, man. I don't need to go back to the 60s for that, too. So, yeah. Movie Finobi, bad. You need a timeout. You need to go and take a walk, is what you need to do, Movie Finobi. Yeah, you really do. Oh, especially with that last one. So, with that said, take a look at the videos. If you're still on the fence, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button too while you're at it. And I will see you all on Wednesday. And thank you again for joining me. And thank you guys for watching me out there. Take a look at the whole video library. There's a lot of stuff to choose from. And also comment down below in the comment section. Let me know, what you guys are interested in, what you like to see, all that kind of stuff. And Comic-Con's coming up. We got a little more than a month for Comic-Con here. And that's when all hell's going to break loose for me. So there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that goes up there. So again, take a look at the video, hit subscribe, hit the like. I will talk to you guys later. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up having to grind up a sea star with your mouth and feed it to some lobster babies. Good night, everybody.